And hello, SFL. It's Guy and Will. Will's back. Hello.
Somewhat back.
Yeah, you look a little off, Will. What's happening,
Yeah,
buddy?
it's been a tough 2 game losing streak for me, and uh, you know, you can only go up from there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and I got locked out of my YouTube account. I don't know what happened. So
What?
um, I know somebody changed my password or something. I have no idea. So I got to figure that out so I can post tonight.
Wow, that's crazy. Um, well, that's unfortunate. Let's get into these games then. Well, not to the games, but we'll start at the activities at the waiver wire like we normally do. Let's see. Dylan changed some kickers around. You got
It
rid
was
of the
basically all kickers.
Yeah, basically all kickers today. I looked at a little bit. You got rid of Michael Harderman to pick up Samaje P. Ryan, who seems to be all over the place this year. Everybody picks him up and drops him.
Yeah,
Gangbang got himself Jalen Guyton. I don't know who that is.
and yeah,
Some kickers. Rob got rid of his Irwin since he hasn't been performing. Picked up a tight end. He's the only one that bid for him. Gary picked up a wide receiver, A.T. Perry, for $4. He's the only one that bid. Rob beat me and Dylan on the Jason Sanders, who I think is going to be the best kicker of the week this week. I bid $2. He bid $2. He won because he has a worse record than me. Yeah, I was hoping whoever was going to bid on him was only going to bid $1. And I think Rob had
yeah.
the same exact thought process. Uh, Damn it, bastard. Uh, Dylan picked up Kate Otten for free, and Blake Grupe for free as well. Did not like Matt Prater, I guess. And because I didn't get Jason Sanders, I got my number 2 option, which was Young Wei Koo.
So
And
you've been
then
kicking it.
it's been kicking it good. And Miles Sanders for the Campbell soup. Anything we want to talk about in this activities? It seems pretty tame.
Yeah, pretty normal. I mean, for me, I don't have both of my running backs are on bye as far as my starter, my backup, and of course, Jones is hurt, so I had to pick up somebody, and that was very thin in the running back spot for sure.
Yeah, so let's just go on ahead and go on what I think was probably one of the games of the week. There were 2 games, but this one, both people scored over 200 points. I am, of course, talking about Martial Law versus the Haas. The Haas takes a win 235 to 203. Rob had 2, 4, 5 touchdowns, and he has 3, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. Um, and man, what a game! 235. Everybody showed up on his team. His cousin, the kicker, who D Haas doesn't consider a real football player,
Hmm.
did great. Bijan finally showed up to a game, amazingly. Is this what Atlanta has been doing? Just saving him for this time of the year? Was
I
that the game
guess.
plan? The stack finally worked out. T Law and Calvin Ridley showed up the first week of the season and then disappeared.
They didn't have a bad, and they played well last week too, so it's almost like they're just coming
Yeah,
to form. I think he had 2 touchdowns last week, so
yeah. We're,
um,
we're just coming back now. And on the other side, Rob had himself a game too. It's just unfortunate that he went up against Diaz. It's just good performance from everyone on his team, basically. Nobody was a real dud. He did play 2 tight ends, but I mean, kind of
so that's been
feels,
his strategy all year. Well, at least the last 3 or 4 weeks he's been doing. I mean, the unlucky Fields played in that game where no touchdowns
yep.
from his whole team. Didn't
Hmm.
matter if it was running or throwing, and he had a bunch of turnovers too.
At least more came through.
Hmm.
But yeah, just a rough game for Rob, really. I mean, it's just who you play against. That's all it came down to.
Yeah.
What game you
Well,
take those to?
I'm gonna go to another interesting game that came down to the wire. I'm gonna go to Kim and Victor. Kim's team, I, I would say, did not have a great week. Lucky that they were playing Victor's team this week, and that Victor came out hot. Jordan Love had a huge game. Sam Howell had his normal game. In fact, he probably could have had an even better game with his couple picks and stuff. And then Zay Flowers had a big game on Sunday night, and it came down to her stack, and it did not look good on Monday for a long, long time until
Yeah.
that late touchdown to Hawkinson
Mm-hmm.
put her in the positive. So a lucky win, I would say, in a way because of that, but a win that she should have got. So good for her getting that dub, and really helped her playoff spot. Big for her.
Yeah, it's like around 4 teams scored in that 170 mid 170s. Yeah, her, myself, and Jordan scored all in the mid 170s, real close to each other. So
And
it
they
was
both had
really
7
about
touchdowns apiece. So
it's
to
really
be fair.
about which one of us, you know, uh, ended up facing each other
Hmm.
because that made a difference on who got the win and dub because we were all super close. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Kyle, my constant diarrhea versus Campbell's soup. Kind of goes with how we thought, where Kyle's teams just isn't showing up lately. What happened to Mark Andrews? Is because I got a goose from Mark Andrews here. I'm assuming he thought Mark Andrews was gonna play and then he didn't.
I don't know. I think that he just didn't have anybody. He didn't have another tight end. He didn't go get another tight end. I am kind of worried about Kyle. And we'll talk about it for this week because it doesn't look like he's really changing things up. But maybe he is, and maybe he's going to. But yeah, I wasn't sure about that either. Leaving Mark Andrews in and not going to get anybody else to just plug the hole
Hmm.
wouldn't have mattered. I mean, even if he got Pat Freeman,
Yeah,
Pat
this doesn't matter.
he would have still lost. It would have been
Yeah,
closer.
I mean the point differential was just too great between these two this week. 202 versus 145. Kyle only had 3 touchdowns, and Ariel had a bunch, 3, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. Um, it wasn't gonna matter. It looks like Kyron Williams is back in full swing for Campbell Soup. Betancourt sent me a trade for him a long time ago at the start of the season, and kind of regretting not taking it now. But yeah, AB is back and kicking ass. Where do you want to take us, Will?
I'm gonna take it your game. I mean, it's stay in the division. Another a close one. You got very very lucky. I would say that he started Jones. I understand it's a two
Mm-hmm.
quarterback league, and I know we talked about it on the thread a little bit, but I just can't. I can't trust that Jones is going to get me 10 points, let alone, of course, getting a negative point. And he could have started anybody except for Chandler and won this week against you. And having Logan Thomas have a bad game, which I would thought was a big surprise against that Dallas team. That was a little unlucky.
Yeah,
You yourself had some unlucky with Douglas going out, but it
Shaheed
didn't
too.
happen until late in the game.
Douglas and
Uh,
Shaheed both got injured.
and so that was interesting. And of course, Brock Purdy, they kept the ball. They were blowing him out so much they kept the ball on
They
the ground a
yeah they
lot.
kept the ground, and Barkley didn't do anything this week either.
Yeah, it just was a bad week for that whole game.
Yeah.
That New England game. If you had anybody in the New England game, you were screwed. Basically. But looking at the stats, of course, Tyreek had 1 touchdown. You had a total of 5. Oh, sorry, 6 touchdowns. And then, of course, on his side, we had 2, 3 touchdowns. So
Yeah, that was a difference
6 to
maker.
3, a big difference. And really, I think the biggest difference is starting Matt Jones. I understand it from a league style, but I just can't trust that. And having Samuel on the bench with 24 points or just Pat. with 30
Fat
points.
30. Oof.
That was bad.
Yeah, it
But
was big.
I think if I was looking at this team, I probably would have started Samuel over Jones, and I think I understand having Thomas and Jones. Maybe start one of the have Freeman in that, or sorry, Pat in
Fat,
that.
yeah.
But I would have started Samuel just because they're playing against Cowboys, probably gonna be behind the whole game. I'd rather have the guy that's like a Debo for their team and Samuel. But unfortunate, you know, he should have won. He definitely should have won this week. He
Yeah,
got very lucky.
yeah. Uh, he threw away a 50-point game from Jalen Hurts essentially by
Yeah.
trusting Mac Jones. Um, one interesting thing too here is my trade deadline came through. Trade deadline trade is the reason I won this week. I'm gonna keep a track of that for myself. If it would have changed the game either way. Seems like I actually bought myself a win by trading with Dylan.
And
Uh,
CJ Stroud has been having a good game. And, we talk about Jalen Hurts had 50. He shouldn't have had 50. That field goal was crazy that they
yeah,
made to give him a
yeah.
shot to get to 52. So I guess it was closer than
That
it
was the
probably
most
should have been.
wild field goal I've ever seen in my life. I think.
Yeah.
In the pouring
Yeah.
rain, 59 yards. Are you
I know.
kidding me? Like
Crazy.
amazing. Let's go on ahead and go to the game that you don't want me to go to, where Gary handily gave you an ass whooping, 196 to 134. Gary had a lot of touchdowns from Matt Stafford, 40-point game from him. So got him 9 touchdowns total for his 196. And the fact that his kicker only got -2 points did not matter this week because your team sucked. Adam Thielen, 1 point. Gus Edwards, we've been ripping on you for not starting Gus for so long, and then he comes 7 points. Bake got hurt early, came back. Gino played against San Francisco. I don't know what the hell happened there. I think he got hurt for a little bit too.
He also had a couple picks.
Yeah, 11 points. Just a flat out awful game for you. And then, of course, you have Jamar Chase now without Joe Burrow. That's not the best thing ever.
Well, I mean, and you say a 50-point game from Jalen Hurts, and Brown gets 37 yards. I mean
Yeah,
that was. Oh, I mean Smith had the big game. Devontae
yeah.
had a huge game. I think he had 3 touchdowns, or maybe it was 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I mean everyone underperformed. The only person that did is my tried and true McCaffrey. McCaffrey's going to get me 30
McCaffrey's a
points
beast.
almost every week.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. And Baker was hurt for maybe a drive. It didn't matter in the long run. But I mean, Stafford having 40 points. I mean, I think he had 3 touchdowns in the first 3 drives. I knew that's when I said it was over. I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
watch it anymore because I said I don't even care. I didn't even know Pacheco had 32 points. That's how crazy it was. And of course, Baker threw 2 touchdown passes to who? Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
And so it
Yeah,
was
on the other
just
side of the field.
I just said as soon as it happened, I said the only way I win is if Stafford has a bad game, and he didn't. He didn't have a bad game, and so he won. And there was nothing I could do. So good for Gary. Gary's gone from last to first in our division, so his team's solid. They're good. But I want to finish off. I'll finish off with that. I see you already pulled it up. The Magic School Bus. I am shocked about this score just because if you look at the top two line, even though Dak had a good game, Herbert and Allen are playing well enough for him to win. And then you look at all of the players underneath. I don't know if it was the trade that he got rid of so much or what, but his team has guys that don't score enough points. I mean, yeah, you've got Allen and you got Diggs and you got Eckler, but now you're asking for TJ Lockett or not TJ Lockett, Tyler Lockett to get 10 points a week when he hasn't really done anything.
I mean, he's a pretty boom or bust.
Yeah.
Right. He's like he gets you like the 20s, and then he also gets you like And it was like almost 30 points and then like 7.
Yeah.
That's Tyler Lockett. That's why I wanted him off my team.
And Jefferson, didn't play, which that was probably a huge hurdle because I think Dylan thought he was going to play last week. So that was big, and of course they're off this week, so hopefully he'll get him back for the last week of the season. But
Yeah, that's what
this
they're
put him
saying.
in this put him in a difficult situation because Dylan has lost to a lot of the teams that are chasing him. Me being one. That if we finish tied, I've got the head to head. So he's got to win this week to kind of secure his playoff spot. He's got to win one of the next 2 weeks to get in. I think
Yeah.
7-7 will be a playoff team this year.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
about who. I don't think 6-8 is getting in anymore. So it's no 6-8. I think it's 7-7 all the way.
And the thing about Dylan's team as well is he no longer has any money. So if he's trying to change up his team with the waiver wire,
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to be able to outbid anybody.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, he just has to hope that these teams start playing. Like, I mean, the whole Seattle offense had a rough week this week because they played the 49ers, understandable. So I fully expect Tyler Lockett to come back. I don't expect Robert Woods to come back. I feel like he's been taken over by Tank Dell. Like, the team realizes Tank Dell is better than Robert Woods, and they're going to play him less and give more time to Tank Dell. Dobbs in Green Bay, I don't have much hope for him. I mean,
Well, now Christian Watson's finally playing.
yeah. Uh, Not much hope for Matt Prater.
Yeah. Well, he already got rid of
He's
Prater.
already got rid of him, put him back in. 0 points from a kicker is rough. But really, what he's got to hope for is another injury to that Cleveland running back room, so Kareem Hunt can come in and get some real starting time, and for Justin Jefferson to come back strong, and then he can have a strong playoff push. Because let's be honest, this 2 quarterback duo here with Diggs and Jefferson is actually good enough to get a deep playoff push in.
Well,
As long
and
as
Swift and Eckler. I mean, you've got two solid running
and
backs. You've
Eckler,
got
he's got
two
Eckler
solid
too.
quarterbacks.
Yeah,
He really just needs to find a plug, and he needs a tight end. He
I
needs to
mean
find a
Eckler
tight
just had a
end.
bad game. That's
Yeah,
another one.
yeah.
I'm not worried about Dylan's team, to be honest with you. It's just
I'm
mainly
not worried
to
as long as they come back. As long as Jefferson's not like they had to activate Jefferson. I don't think he's still ready to play, but they had to activate him this week. I don't know. We'll see what
he's got a
happens
bye.
if
He's
they.
got a bye week this week, so
Well, I'm saying when they
yeah,
come back from the
yeah.
bye, are they going to snap count them,
I don't
kind
think
of
so.
thing to get through it? So
I don't think
we'll
so. I
see.
think he's back and he's back strong. Um, and I mean, can we really talk too much about Holden's team? Is just a beast of a team.
They're good. I
Really freaking
still
good.
for some reason I don't know why it is, and maybe it's Holden. It's probably Holden, but for me, I think that his team has been very lucky on some cases. I think that obviously Tua didn't have a good game this week for
No.
him, but having Njoku get 16 points. Now Jonathan Taylor's out for at least 3 weeks
Yeah.
with that hand injury.
Yeah, that would hurt.
He's got his handcuff, which we talked about. I think in that trade that we said that's a terrible trade that he was getting the
Yeah.
handcuff for Moss, and now
Now it comes
it's
through.
gonna work out really well for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, has he been very smart with his moves? 100%. But if you look at his bench, if something happens to any of these guys, he's done because he's got nothing behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's gonna have to go on the waiver wire, and there's nothing out there.
I still think he has the best team in the league, though. I really do. Let's look into our standings real quick. I was pumping up Gary to win the Walters, and he's finally in the lead, but by one game with Kyle and Ariel right behind him at 6-6, and you at the bottom of 5-7. Now Kyle has been slipping, like we said. Kyle has been slipping, which allows whoever plays him to go up. You have a chance to get to 7-7, make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think here.
Well, and we'll talk about this week as well. But I think I'm really confident about this week with him. I say that every week, but I actually am confident this week with him. It's going to matter about. I think me and Adi are going to battle for the last spot, and that game, the last week, is going to be very important because I lost to Kyle first week of the season or whatever it was. So 1-1, but I have 300 more points than him right now. There's no way he's going to overtake me on points. So I'm definitely getting the tiebreaker there, and then the same thing with Adi. So I can definitely get up to second place with just 2 wins. So I'm not too worried about it as long as Gary keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah, Gary is
And then
strong.
I think that the biggest thing for me is like I beat Kim, so I've head to head on Kim. I've got head to head on Dylan, and I've got head to head on D Haas. I don't have it with Robert, so that is my only worry when it comes to it. So I've got to win. I got to win the next 2 weeks, and of course you're pretty solid. Obviously, you got to win this week
Yeah.
against Victor. But once you do, you'll lock up the playoff. You'll lock up your seed as far as at least a 2 or 3. But like you said,
No,
Dylan's.
I gotta. It depends on Kim, because if I lose my game against Kim, she has the head-to-head on me.
Oh, gotcha,
Because she won me,
gotcha,
she beat me already. So if she beats me 2 times,
gotcha. So
she
we got
wins.
to cheer for Kim to lose. Got it, got it.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
want Kim to lose too.
Yeah, you definitely do because you want as little of teams going into the season with 500 record or to end the season at 500 record, so you have a chance to get in.
100%.
Um, so yeah, what you needed is you need Kim to lose both games or at least one of the games.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, let's look at this week. You know, I, I'm gonna look first at the Martian Law Elderly Gangbang because I think that's a crucial game, obviously for Rob. Yeah, I think if he loses this game, I don't think there's a shot for him to get in.
uh, Martial law. I was looking at the wrong week. That's what it was.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't. Obviously, I think that's going to be a really hard sell for him to get in. I mean, 7-7, like we talked about, is a chance, but losing this week would put Holden as getting the bye for it, basically, more than likely. And his team now is going to have a little bit of luck that Jacobs is out this week,
And
and
so is Taylor.
so is Taylor, and he's only got really Moss
Yeah.
to put in.
Hmm.
Um, but again, he's starting 3 running backs, so what does it matter? He'll just put another
Correct.
receiver in, like Moore or whatever. But he's gonna be not. He's gonna be down. Obviously, a person that scores him at least 10 points because I don't see Moore scoring 10 points on the Rams. He might, but it's really gonna matter about his team with Pickett. Will Pickett play? I think he will. I don't see anything because there's no way he's starting Browning. I would never start Browning. Browning looks
No.
terrible.
And Murray didn't look that good last week either. And Pittsburgh is kind of a rough
True.
defense.
Especially with McBride, yeah, having that stack, that mini stack there to, take on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game. He's putting a lot of equity in that Pittsburgh Arizona game. That's for sure.
And that's going to be a rough game. And it's a rough game against the best team in our fantasy league, I would say. So
Hmm.
yeah, I got to give it to Holden this week. I think Holden wins, even though he doesn't have Josh Jacobs. Like you said, he's just gonna find a wide receiver because he still has Zach Moss to cover for Jonathan Taylor. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't see
Once
a
he
lot of
makes the corrections, he'll have of course, the highest projection
yeah,
to his team. So
yeah. Uh, I mean, he did steal. Rob did manage to steal Sanders, who I think is the best kicker this week. I don't think it's going to be enough though.
no.
Could potentially be a close game.
Hmm.
I just don't view the matchups, and really it's the quarterback side of Rob that has me worried. I mean, Arizona has been loose against quarterbacks, so maybe Pickett does something, but it's Pickett. I'm not gonna trust him, but we'll see. I'll go ahead and take us on over to the Magic School Bus game and DHAS because I think this is going to be a good one. Uh, Now, the Magic School Bus does not have a good projected this week, and one of the big reasons is no Josh Allen, no Stephon Diggs, no Justin Jefferson, and no Meyer on all on bye weeks, and the Haas doesn't really have any bye weeks this week, which I think that is going to lead for the upset. Like as I said before, this team, Dylan's team, is really dependent on the quarterback play of Allen and Herbert. Without having Allen and also not having Diggs, because that's what happens when you have a stack. Um, this is what hurts you. I say D Haas is gonna take this win, and both teams will be 7-6, and it's gonna make things real interesting in that division.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't want that to happen, but I see Dylan's team for me as what I had last year, where all I needed was one win to make the playoffs the last 2 weeks, and I lost them both because my team just was, just injuries or, but as we talk about now, bye weeks. They just was like slumming to try to get into the playoffs. And yeah, I think it's going to come down to the last week because I agree with you. D Hoss going to win. I want to look at your game. I think it should be a pretty easy game for you. I know that you've got a couple people on buys this week with
Oh,
Barkley
just injury, yeah,
and
Barkley
and
and
injuries, but I still think that you'll be fine. Just because of the quarterbacks. I mean, you've got Philadelphia. I know it's a tough defense, somewhat. No, they haven't been tough this year, but I think it's gonna be a lot of points scored. And then you look at Sam Howell's got a good matchup. I just don't think Jordan Love can do it. Keep doing it. Victor had a big week with Watson and Love. I'm
Kansas
not
City
so sure.
is a very rough defense on quarterbacks as well.
And Nico Brown is looking like he's not going to play this week. With him out, he's gonna, and Cooper is still questionable. I think Cooper plays. He'll probably switch those two, which gives him a little bit more points. But I just don't see it happening. I think that Victor's out of luck this year, and I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin for him.
Yeah, he still has a chance, right? Because he won last week, or did he not win? No, no, he lost
No, he
last week.
lost. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
out.
he's
There's no
out. He's out.
way. I
There's no
mean,
way.
yeah. In fact, it's actually on the thing. It's eliminated for the wild card. He's the only one.
Oh,
So
he's the only one that's fully eliminated. Okay.
yeah, so he's fully done. So he's just out there to try to spoil some people's dreams, basically now.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, I'd like you to win this week, just because I think, again, I don't want Kim to tie because you beat me. So I'm
hmm
hoping that you win this week and continue to do so.
Um, Talking about Cam, let's go ahead and look at her game then. Uh,
Hmm.
we got a very bad projected score for Cam because she is losing her Minnesota players from bye. And she's
Yeah.
also losing her Baltimore players from bye. So
Yes.
that's
Hmm.
5 players on bye, which leads her to a low projected. Um, Now, Jordan has some buys in Chandler and Foreman, who was injured anyway,
Hmm.
but that's not going to be that big of a deal. Now, for Kim, she is lucky on one thing is that Chart is playing San Francisco, which is a very rough defense for quarterbacks.
Hmm.
I see Jordan still has Mac Jones in the starting lineup. We'll
If anything, can we just tell him, please do not start Matt Jones this week. Start anybody other than Matt Jones. If you can, start Samuel or start Reed. I mean, Reed's been having some solid games too, and that would be a big thing. I just you can't do it. Please don't start Matt Jones this week.
oh
Um, but
man.
because Will Levis will probably start for Kim, obviously. You'll probably see. I don't know. You might see. I know not Devontae, whatever. D Johnson's going to play
Yeah.
for
Deontay Johnson's
Addison
going to be on the in that lineup.
and Henry. Even though I don't know, that would be. I don't know if
It's
Henry's
her
not
only
been
tight
playing that
end.
well,
It's her only
but
tight end.
it's early a tight end. So I see Jordan win this game if he doesn't start Matt Jones. Matt
Yeah.
Jones starts, you know, you deserve to lose. Let's
Jordan,
just say
please
that.
start someone other than Mac Jones so you can get this
Yes.
W. I need you to win this game, please, to take some stress off of me. I really
Hmm.
appreciate it. Um, eh,
Well, let's go to Campbell's soup. Obviously, Gary and his wisdom of not ever putting his lineup in. We go down his optimum. What is it? I can't even see it.
164.
Oh, 64. There it is. Got it. Let's look. He's not got. Who cares? Taylor Heikes doesn't play. All right, so he's starting. Everybody. Walker might be back. That'd be big for him. I think Walker probably doesn't play this weekend. I think that's why he got Sanders. So I think he'll start Sanders instead of Walker. But Walker should be back by next week at the worst. He loses. He loses likely. Who had a big week or almost had a big week last week. But I see. I see Gary win this game, and I need Gary to win this game. So I'm hoping for a big win from Gary.
He's got some good lineups. He's got some good matchups. Just looking up here, Najee Harris versus or Jalen Warren. That's the problem too. You don't know which one of these guys are going to have a good game. Both of them have been having good games, and
I
that's
don't see
kind
him
of
starting either of them. I think he's going to
yeah.
start
He's going to start.
Kamara, Hall, and Pacheco
Yeah, yeah. It's tried and trusted.
with
Uh,
Evans and Lamb and
yeah.
probably Sutton because
Sutton.
I don't think he'll start Olave. Olave's a little dinged up, you know,
And
even with Carr to
yeah.
stack. I think he might not play him.
Um,
But his team with Kittle, I mean, is a very solid team. I think that Gary's team is the best team in the league.
you think Gary's team is the best team in the league?
I think that they're the most dangerous team because he's got somebody at every position that is a top player.
You're
Kittle
right
can
about
be a
that.
top player. What?
You're right about that. The thing that worries me is I don't feel like he has two good quarterbacks. That's that's what
True.
worries me about his team. And Stafford has been shaky as well.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he had a big week last week,
but
which of
his
course
running backs, you can't argue with his running backs. His running backs have been freaking great. And then Mike Evans and Lamb,
TD
yeah,
and Olave has been having a
it's
good
just
year for the most part.
amazing wide receivers on this team.
And Kittle
Kittle can have
and
his
Komet
games.
and Komet had I think he had 6 catches on Monday night in the
Yeah,
first half.
yeah,
So I mean, it's his team is very dangerous.
yeah. Komet's been
Um,
has some boom games this
I
year.
mean, I could see him in the playoffs not even starting one of his quarterbacks and just going 2 tight ends
Wow, wow,
because I might even do that
wow,
because I don't know if I.
bold.
I mean, Stafford. I just don't trust Stafford enough to do it. He had a good week last week, but that's big.
Yeah. And on the other side here, Campbell Soup just has some rough matchups with his quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, if you look at it, it's just rough matchups in a lot of places. Running back, some wide receivers. Um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely like Gary to win. Like I said, I think the Gary is top team in that division, and like you think he's a top team in the league. I think he's probably second or third. Um, let's look at the Big Willie game here versus my constant diarrhea.
I have no idea what he's gonna do. If you look, he doesn't have another tight end. Um,
He doesn't have Gabe
and
Davis, doesn't have Adams, he doesn't have Lamar Jackson.
mhm.
Boy's fucked. To be
I
honest.
mean, it's not, and I mean, Acne's might play this week.
Uh huh.
That'd be good for him. He'll probably start T. Higgins and Acne. I mean, he's not going to play 2 quarterbacks. He hasn't got a quarterback yet. And I mean, I don't think he'll start P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker doesn't play, right? I thought it was what's his face, or is he hurt? DJ the 3-letter guy.
Oh, D to Robinson Thompson or something.
DTR is it
DTR,
DTR?
DTR,
DTR.
DRT. One of the other ones.
Yeah, but I thought he was starting, even though it says P.J. Walker's going to get 6 points. I don't know. Either way, let's say he starts. I just don't see it this week. I mean, I say that as a person that says I don't have any, running backs. I might. Hopefully, Jones plays. If Aaron Jones plays, I'm starting him over Perrine. but my two buys are two running backs,
The
which
thing
suck.
is you have Christian McCaffrey, which like his point total will make up for the fact that your second running back is shit.
True, and that's why I'm going to watch the reports and say, okay, if Jones is going to be limited, I'll just start Perrine and deal with it. He's now the number 2 back. He beat out that rookie finally, so we'll look for that. And if Baker plays, Baker's questionable. Well, he should. My biggest thing is Geno. Is Geno going to have a good game against that Dallas defense?
Dallas defense is rough. One of the best defenses against quarterbacks. But to me, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I think Kyle has checked out. I don't know what's going on with him. Hope everything is well in his life, but I don't think he's paying that much attention this year. Which is unfortunate. So, yeah, and just way too many bye weeks to make up for it. There's just way too many points off of his roster at the moment because of the buys. If you lose this one, it's going to be sad, real sad for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it just seems like something I would lose. So, that's why I'm confident, but not overconfident. So, if we go back to the league standings, if you say all that, we'd say probably in my division, Gary at 8-5, and everybody else at 6-7. At that division.
Yeah.
And let's say Holden pulls out that win, and DeHaas, we said DeHaas was going to win, so it'd be 7-6.
7-6.
With 7-6 and 6-7, and then you win, and we think Kim loses, then it'd be 6-7. So that would change the whole playoff structure, and I think that would mean that we'd have 3 teams from the Walters in the division in the playoffs at that time. So it'd be interesting. Be really interesting going through, and I'm glad it is. I wish I was where Gary was or where you were than where I'm at right now, but I'm not. I haven't lost hope yet. There's hope still.
There's still hope. I mean, I started 0-5, 7-5 now. Anything happen. Anything is possible.
That's right.
I think that's a good spot to end it. So, thank you very much, SFL. Thank you, Will, for coming in and talking to us. And I guess bye-bye, SFL.
Well, see you.